A new Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose
Watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would they be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram,
Look at this. And it's...
What we're talking about today is one of the biggest pop culture earthquakes of the decade. A documentary so explosive, raw, and packed with never-before-seen footage that the internet froze the moment Netflix released the trailer for The Reckoning, a 4-part docuseries chronicling Diddy's rise from hip-hop power broker to convicted felon whose empire collapsed in public view. The most shocking twist is that the executive producer behind the project is 50 Cent, the same man who spent years openly trolling and dismantling Diddy, now revealing why this documentary had to exist, why the timing mattered, and why the truth, no matter how dark or controversial, could no longer be ignored. The story traces back 2 years to Cassie's lawsuit accusing Diddy of coercion, exploitation, manipulation, control, and prolonged psychological torment, a filing many assumed would disappear quietly after it settled within 24 hours, but instead became the first domino in an avalanche of allegations, lawsuits, federal scrutiny, and public reckoning. As former staff, partners, dancers, and collaborators began coming forward with increasingly disturbing accounts, 50 Cent watched it unfold in real time and concluded the public needed a complete, unfiltered narrative rather than scattered rumors. In November 2024, he openly mocked Diddy's rapid settlement in a now-deleted Instagram post and followed it with further jabs on social media, while Diddy released a brief statement calling the matter amicable. By the end of 2024, Diddy had been convicted on federal charges related to transporting individuals for adult industry activities and sentenced to 50 months in prison, a fall that only intensified scrutiny on his former circle, setting the stage for The Reckoning to become not just a documentary, but a cultural reckoning few saw coming.
Foreseen footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put stuff in my fanny pack?
Never-before-seen footage captures Sean Diddy Combs in the tense days leading up to his arrest in New York last September, revealing a man unraveling behind the scenes as pressure closed in. The documentary shows moments that feel unguarded and unsettling, including a crude, offhand remark caught on camera. "You want to put the stuff in my fanny packing?" That underscores the collapse of the polished public image he once so carefully maintained. These final snapshots before his arrest frame The Reckoning not as a sudden fall, but as an inevitable end long in the making.
What makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations.
Shortly after Diddy's arrest in September 2024, 50 Cent revealed he was partnering with Netflix on a documentary intended to expose additional alleged crimes connected to Diddy, claims that, according to widespread rumors, had not yet reached federal investigators. Speculation quickly grew that 50 Cent had been quietly gathering information for nearly 2 decades, insisting he knew everyone involved and was prepared to uncover what he described as the larger mastermind behind the entire operation.
The verdict in 50 months of incarceration for Diddy. Now, when you subtract the 14 months of time served, that comes to
50 Cent has stressed that his upcoming documentary series won't rely on internet rumors or surface-level speculation, but will instead examine the inner workings of what he describes as Diddy's alleged criminal network, information that, according to circulating reports, may have helped trigger renewed law enforcement interest. That context made the events of March 2024 even more shocking, when federal agents carried out dramatic, coordinated raids on Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, complete with helicopters, tactical teams, forced entries, and the seizure of electronics and hard drives. While many dismissed 50 Cent's immediate online reaction as trolling, he later admitted this was the moment he realized the story had outgrown social media and become one of the most significant falls from grace in music history. The situation escalated further in September 2024 when Diddy was arrested on charges related to transporting former girlfriends across state lines for orchestrated sexual encounters prosecutors referred to as freak-offs, involving male escorts and allegations of manipulation, surveillance, and abuse of power. The trial was graphic and disturbing, and while the jury convicted Diddy on 2 transportation-related counts, they acquitted him on sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges, later explaining they struggled to apply complex legal statutes despite finding the behavior deeply troubling. Diddy was ultimately sentenced to 50 months in prison and is now seeking a reduction, as the cultural and legal reckoning surrounding his legacy continues to unfold.
Somebody that'll work with us, whether they're from this country or from another country. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media.
With a 50-month sentence handed down, once you subtract the 14 months Diddy has already served, it effectively leaves him with exactly 3 years remaining to serve.
He had just embraced.
I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have.
Throughout the entire saga, 50 Cent remained one of the loudest and most relentless voices, commenting on every twist and development. But he now insists the trolling was never the real reason behind the reckoning. In interviews, 50 Cent explained that his goal was to create something objective, rooted in documentation, sworn testimony, and real footage rather than gossip or internet speculation. He described Netflix as the ideal platform because of its global reach and its willingness to grant director Alexandria Stapleton full creative independence. According to 50, this was not about revenge, but about clarity, laying out decades of rumors, scandals, tragedies, alleged violence, manipulation, and the corrosive effects of celebrity power, and then allowing audiences to draw their own conclusions.
City College in the heart of New York City for the Puff Daddy Heavy D first all-time celebrity.
One of the most chilling moments in the documentary comes from footage captured during Diddy's final days before his arrest. Footage he allegedly commissioned himself. He hired a videographer in New York, believing the recordings would document what he saw as government overreach, but instead they reveal a man unraveling. The camera captures him pacing hotel hallways, appearing paranoid and exhausted, peering anxiously out of windows at what he believed were federal agents positioned on nearby rooftops. In frantic calls to his inner circle, he demands help from someone experienced in the darkest corners of media and propaganda, signaling a growing awareness that the walls were closing in and control was slipping away.
It says there had been a payment from Combs to Keefe D, but it had gone through Zip, and then that money was...
At one point, after walking through Harlem and embracing fans, he climbs into his SUV and immediately asks for hand sanitizer, joking that he needs to cleanse himself from everyone who touched him. The moment carries an eerie sense of detachment, as if he's already losing control and retreating inward, revealing a growing disconnect between the public persona and the private unraveling captured on camera.
There's a yearning for him to have that complete, total control. You're my artist, you're my best friend.
You're writing this song for like 30 days.
The documentary also examines Cassie's testimony, which detailed allegations of freak-offs, control, coercion, and constant surveillance. However, jurors explained on camera why they ultimately could not convict Diddy on those charges. Legally, the law required clear proof of force, fraud, or coercion, and they felt the evidence fell short of that standard, even if the relationship appeared deeply unhealthy. Jurors described Cassie as emotionally trapped rather than physically forced, calling the case complicated, confusing, and morally disturbing, but not legally straightforward enough to secure a conviction.
And sometimes look over to us like, can you believe they said that? In his facial expression.
One of the most striking moments in the documentary captures Diddy, days before his arrest, telling the mother of his youngest child that he was about to deposit $200 million, nearly half of his reported $400 million fortune, suggesting he was moving assets in anticipation of federal charges. The filmmakers frame this as one of the most revealing glimpses into his urgent preparations for the storm ahead. The series also delves into the freak-off culture, featuring testimony from male participant Clayton Howard, who described 8 years of highly staged, tightly controlled sessions where Diddy regulated everything from lighting and baby oil to collecting bodily fluids. For many viewers, this portion is the most disturbing, though 50 Cent emphasizes that including such details was about documentation, not sensationalism. This wasn't the first time 50 Cent publicly targeted Diddy. During Homeland Security raids on Diddy's California and Florida homes, HSI confirmed the activity at his Star Island mansion was connected to a federal search warrant. As agents concluded their work, rumors even linked the case to Jay-Z. 50 Cent immediately jumped into the chaos, posting screenshots of Diddy's sons, Justin and King Combs, being escorted in handcuffs and images of federal agents outside the property, writing, "S just got real. The feds in all the cribs. They got the kids in cuffs." He amplified the moment by sharing a fan-made video branding Diddy as too freaky for society, further fueling speculation that he might even have inside knowledge of the investigation. For years, 50 Cent has seized every opportunity to publicly mock Diddy, especially during legal troubles, and this raid episode became another chapter in their ongoing feud. Yet, 50 Cent insists that producing The Reckoning wasn't about revenge or clicks. He argues the story transcends music, hip-hop drama, and celebrity scandal, exposing what happens when a culture elevates someone to godlike status, worships them, and refuses to question them until it's too late. Director Alexandria Stapleton described the documentary as a mirror reflecting society's complicity in idolizing celebrities, a perspective 50 Cent fully endorses. Ultimately, the project is about power, accountability, and the dark side of celebrity worship.
For granted, you never thought that she'll leave her. So it's like both hands clapping together. You cannot clap with one hand. The both hands like this, then you...
Diddy has, of course, responded. Through a spokesperson, he labeled the documentary a shameless hit piece by a longtime adversary with a personal vendetta, claiming it twists facts, exploits old rumors, and is designed to humiliate him while he's in prison. 50 Cent, however, maintains that the documentary speaks for itself. He insists that the footage, interviews, files, and testimonies were collected over 2 years with objectivity in mind, and that he never influenced the narrative. His role, he says, was simply to bring the project to Netflix, provide resources, and ensure Diddy's team could not interfere. Viewers have been struck by the candidness of the footage, some even surprised that Diddy filmed it himself, moments where he seemed to forget the camera was rolling. As the documentary premieres, fans, critics, former employees, industry figures, and generations who grew up idolizing Diddy are all grappling with a story that spans 30 years, countless scandals, and lives impacted. 50 Cent insists this is just the beginning. More interviews, footage, and revelations remain as the story continues to unfold. Meanwhile, Diddy has appealed his conviction, participates in a prison sobriety program in hopes of reducing his sentence, and faces collapsed businesses and a shattered reputation. His public legacy is now indelibly marked by allegations that will follow him indefinitely. According to 50 Cent, documenting this moment was crucial. History demands a clear record of how someone so powerful fell so far, so fast, in such a dramatic and disturbing fashion. This is Sean Diddy Combs' The Reckoning, and this is why 50 Cent made it.
The deposit $200 million right now.
What we're talking about today is one of the biggest pop culture earthquakes of the decade. The Reckoning, a 4-part Netflix docuseries, traces Diddy's rise from hip-hop mastermind to convicted felon, with a twist that the executive producer is none other than 50 Cent, the same man who has publicly trolled and challenged Diddy for years. 2 years ago, when Cassie filed a lawsuit alleging coercion, exploitation, manipulation, and years of psychological torment, the entertainment world cracked open. Though the case settled privately within 24 hours, the accusations went public, prompting dozens of former staff, ex-partners, dancers, and collaborators to come forward with even more disturbing accounts. Watching this unfold in real time, 50 Cent realized the public needed a platform to understand the full picture, beyond scattered rumors. In March 2024, federal agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami in a cinematic, coordinated operation, complete with helicopters, tactical teams, and boxes of electronics seized. 50 Cent famously quipped online, "Now it's not did he do it, it's did he done," a line that many assumed was trolling, but he later admitted it marked the moment he knew the story was historically significant. By September 2024, Diddy was arrested on charges related to transporting former girlfriends across state lines for freak-offs, highly orchestrated intimate performances involving male escorts. The trial was graphic and filled with allegations of manipulation, surveillance, blackmail, luxury, and power. The jury convicted Diddy on 2 counts of transportation but acquitted him on sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, citing legal complexity despite finding the behavior disturbing. With 14 months already served, Diddy faces 3 years remaining in prison, while his businesses, empire, and public legacy lie in ruins. The documentary itself is both explosive and intimate. It includes footage Diddy commissioned of his final days before arrest, showing a man paranoid, exhausted, and desperate as he paced hallways, peered out windows at federal agents, and made frantic calls for help in media and propaganda. Other moments, like jokingly asking for hand sanitizer after hugging fans in Harlem, convey a growing detachment and loss of control. This series also revisits early events that shaped his trajectory, from the deadly 1991 City College celebrity basketball event, which he partially organized, to the launch of Bad Boy Entertainment and the escalating Tupac-Biggie feud. Interviews suggest Diddy sought control over Biggie's career, with heartbreaking claims about canceled flights and recoupable funeral costs. 50 Cent repeatedly criticizes Diddy for leveraging the success of artists like Biggie, Maud, Rick Ross, and French Montana, highlighting the tension between mentorship and control. The series moves through the federal trial era, featuring testimonies from former staffers like Capricorn Clark and examining Cassie's allegations of freak-offs, control, and coercion. Jurors described these claims as emotionally troubling but legally complex, finding proof of physical coercion lacking. The documentary also captures moments of financial maneuvering, such as Diddy claiming to deposit $200 million in anticipation of federal charges. Throughout the saga, 50 Cent has been vocal, posting about Homeland Security raids, Diddy's sons being escorted by authorities, and even fan-made videos branding Diddy as too freaky for society. Yet, he insists that the reckoning was never about revenge or clicks. His goal was clarity, to document decades of rumors, tragedies, scandals, and abuses of power, allowing viewers to draw their own conclusions. Director Alexandria Stapleton describes the series as a mirror reflecting society's complicity in idolizing celebrities, a sentiment 50 Cent fully endorses. Diddy has responded through a spokesman, calling the documentary a shameless hit piece, alleging that it distorts facts and exploits rumors. 50 Cent maintains that the project was collected objectively over 2 years, with his role limited to securing Netflix as a platform and ensuring creative independence. As the documentary premieres, fans, critics, industry insiders, and those who grew up idolizing Diddy are processing a story spanning 30 years, dozens of scandals, and countless impacted lives. With more footage and interviews yet to be released, 50 Cent emphasizes that this is only the beginning of documenting a cultural turning point. Diddy has appealed his conviction, participates in a prison sobriety program, and faces a permanently tarnished legacy.